Hey, this is Jason with NextSite Consultant. We're diving into what the industry is doing wrong right now. The gold standard for the building value is a certified appraisal. That's what banks use to protect their investments, the loans that they're writing, and that's what people typically use. It's $2,500. It's a 90-something page report. It has a lot of fluff into it. But when it comes to the investment approach, is one of three approaches they typically assign to a medical building. The most relevant is the comparables. But with the comparable approach, you're really subject to what has sold recently in the market that is similar, or is there something similar in your market? The second approach is the income approach, which looks more at the rental rates you're charging yourself. The problem with that, if you look at any certified appraisal, is they're going to go off of a few major indexes. Most of those eliminated properties under a certain size, and they're basing your medical building's value based on triple net retail or medical office buildings. And what you built for your practice does not necessarily relate to the retail that might hold a CVS or a Publix grocery store or something like that, or a medical office building that may be 50,000 square foot, or a campus near a hospital. The limitations in those reports are going to show you a value that is better or more optimistic than what you'll get in the open market. If you transfer your practice to a buyer that does not execute on the real estate, then you're probably looking to sell that building eventually on the open market. And what investors look at is the future earnings, the NOI. They're not buying the bricks and mortar as much as they're buying future earnings. So just like EBITDA is looked at through a multiple, the cap rate is your multiple. It's the multiple of NOI, net operating income. So if you plan your building value with too aggressive of a cap rate, it's going to say your building's worth, say, $2 million. If you don't set the rent up to support that, and the buyer of the practice doesn't execute to purchase at $2 million, and you have to sell it on the open market, you might be getting offers from investors at $1.5 million, $1.6. Little small adjustments in your NOI, if you don't set the taxes and insurance correctly, if those don't pass through correctly, if you don't have market appreciation, if you set your rental rate too low. And another major one I see is a lot of certified appraisals are giving a cap rate that's conducive to the more industrial market, like the medical office buildings or the retails, that's optimistic with a 10-year term. So a lot of doctors are setting 5-7 year leases, and they may hold the property for a few years before they sell it. And by the time they sell it, they're looking at 3-4 year lease in place. That substantially impacts the cap rate that an investor is willing to pay for it, because an investor knows the cost to re-tenant that building, what it costs to offer TI, free rent, listing commissions, buyer commissions, things like that. Too often, this is a major asset that's getting overvalued all along the way when you're getting bank appraisals, when you're selling the property, and if they're going off of comparing your building to medical office buildings or larger assets with more institutional tenants, it will overvalue it. In the third video of this series, we're going to dive into a little more the matrix of the numbers and the three different classes of creditworthiness, and we're going to look at the report looks at different term leases in place and see how those relates to the value of the building. Thank you, and stay tuned.